That building back there, that's where I used to work.
Today we're going to explore my adopted hometown, Miami, Florida, also known as the 305 and the Magic City, probably because it looks different every time you see it. It is certainly a unique place which I haven't explored in a while, so a lot of things are going to be new to me as well. Enjoy! I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah. That's Miami High, our high school, class of 1990. So we're taking an Uber to downtown, which, from where we are, is actually probably cheaper and easier than finding parking. Besides, we just want to walk around. This would be the heart of Little Havana, just west of downtown. Coincidentally, this used to be my daily commute in my previous life, with a lot more traffic than this. We're recording this on a Sunday in December. I basically witnessed the construction of most of these skyscrapers over the years. We have reached Biscayne Bay, and we're going to begin today at Brickell Key, the location of my last job. Here we are, by the mouth of the Miami River. Very expensive area. That new luxury condo under construction is going to set you back several million.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Miami. And if you've been watching since 2017 or earlier, this is the spot where I did some of my first live streams.
That would be Dodge Island, the port of Miami. It is known as the cruise capital of the world. I wonder why.
And I wanted to start the video here, of course, because this is where I used to work. I used to work at a building. I'm going to show it to you now. I think they're about to demolish it. This is a man-made island. It's called Brickell Key, which they made it with material that when they were dredging the Miami River, which is right back there. All that material they deposited here, and it created this artificial island, man-made Brickell Key. That would be the mainland, Brickell. And yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to begin this video here in Miami, my hometown. And as you probably know, I'm not a native Miamian, but I've been living here all my adult life, so might as well be. And I was singing last night, that's why my voice is kind of weak today. That building back there, that's where I used to work. And sometimes you get to see manatee in this canal here.
I see, they are not demolishing it. It looks like they are just redoing the outside. Okay, I see what they're doing. They are kind of modernizing it.
And this right here, this used to be an iguana hangout. There were, I don't know, dozens of iguanas. They used to live in that plant over there. Kind of, sort of, I don't know exactly where they lived, but apparently they got evicted because I don't see iguanas anymore, but yeah, that was a peculiarity of this particular spot in Brickell Key.
Let's walk to the mainland. This area of downtown south of the Miami River is called Brickell, named after Mary and William Brickell, co-founders of Miami, and they owned all this land and operated a trading post on the river. After William's death in 1908, Mary Brickell became a prominent real estate developer at what was then a young city. She wouldn't be able to recognize it nowadays. I can barely recognize it myself. She was very beloved at the time because of her charitable work.
When was the last time you saw one of these? It works. Dial tone. Can I make a collect call? Thank you. Yeah. This is, but I used to call, and I still call it the other Miami. Nothing to do with the Miami we actually live in.
I often joke that the First Presbyterian Church here may be the only building left intact. And it is open, and I've never been inside.
Well, this is perhaps one of the few buildings in the whole neighborhood almost guaranteed never to get torn down because it is a historic building. Everything else is being replaced by something modern.
Skyscrapers in the distance, that would be Miami Beach. And all the cruise terminals here at the port.
Where the river meets the bay. And this would be the mouth of the Miami River right here. Let me show you. This side, that's the river. And let's get closer because we have some rather inexpensive yachts there parked. There's always something parked there. And the drawbridge is going up.
That is a statue of the Tequesta family, the original inhabitants of this area.
This would be the Miami Circle, which is actually an archaeological site. When they were building this behemoth here, they discovered the remains of what could be considered, our version of Stonehenge. So they decided to preserve it as it is. It didn't used to have this. It used to be open, but I guess they don't want people disturbing. Oh, look at that! That's a big party boat coming.
Let's cross over to the other side of the river. It is a great view from the top of the bridge, and we have a huge cargo ship coming.
I think we're gonna be stuck here for a while. I mean, there's a huge boat coming this way. Yeah, we gotta get on one of those. It goes fast too.
I wonder what's up with all those vultures up there. I believe that is gonna be the swimming pool. I would be scared.
Someone used to have a great view of the bay on that condo on the right, but not anymore. I would be upset. The statue is called El Centinela del Rio, or the Sentinel for short. It stands on the eastern tip of Brickell Key. And those would be the very expensive Fisher Island condos, only accessible by boat. That's what I call a party yacht, a mega yacht. Shall we crash the party?
Fancy party happening back there, let me tell you.
Now this is Bayfront Park. That would be Claude Pepper, long-time politician, and the pigeon on his head. And Julia Tuttle, co-founder of Miami. They even named the causeway after her. And our official Bayfront Park Christmas tree. That would be Freedom Tower, iconic building.
And here we are, Bayfront Park. There's supposed to be a fountain here that they turn on sometimes. And we're gonna go all the way to Bayside, and I think that's all we're gonna do today. That's what we're gonna call it. And it's Bayfront Park because it's in front of the bay, of course.
Here's the Miami Sky View, which opened in late 2020. We're not gonna do it today, but we will some other time. Right now, we're thirsty.
They call it the perfect margarita. And for 15 bucks, it better be, right? It's good, actually.
Oh no, what happened to the amphitheater, where I performed so many times with different bands? It is the end of an era for sure. Let's hope they replace it with something better. I guess it is going to be called Pier 5. And this is where they're doing the live music now. Well, this part hasn't changed all that much since 1987 when Bayside Marketplace opened. I just realized that's the same cruise ship we saw in Key West last week. And the Hard Rock Cafe guitar is back.
And this concludes our first day here in this series that I might call Rediscovering Miami, because we haven't really been out in a long time and a lot of things have changed in our fine city here. Some for the better, some maybe not. Like, yeah, those stars were there before. So we'll reconvene here in another day in another part of the city. Well, we're back in Miami once again today, traveling with Mom.
Hi! Well, in any case, today we're going to what most of you might think as Miami, which is technically not Miami. So, let's go, let's do it. Of course, always a little bit of traffic here on the 836 going east, the Dolphin Expressway. Now going over the Miami River, one of the best places to appreciate the ever-changing skyline. Today we're going to Miami Beach, which is this barrier island connected to the mainland by several causeways, like this one, the MacArthur Causeway, crossing Biscayne Bay, part of the Intracoastal Waterway. To the right is the Port of Miami. Today, it being a Wednesday, we don't have any cruise ships, but you saw how it was on a Sunday. Mom had been saying that she missed seeing the ocean, and I know of a good place to see the open Atlantic, with great views of the beach as well. Here we are, South Pointe Park. The parking lot is completely full, so plan B. The Miami driver in me couldn't help it.
Well, as you saw, one of the challenges here is finding parking. We should have taken an Uber, but I mean, you always find something, I guess, as long as you're willing to walk a couple of blocks. So here we are, we're going to the very southern tip of South Beach, which is called South Pointe Park. And this is a neighborhood called South of 5, which is the area, south of 5th Street. And we still find, not as many, but we still find some, Art Deco buildings, which are all historic, by the way.
Lots of relatively new construction here too. Let's take the Miami Beach Walk, which is a popular biking and hiking trail, and this is Nikki Beach, famous and super fancy restaurant and French-style beach club. It is nowadays an international brand, but this was the original, founded by one Jack Penrod. In fact, until 1998, it was still known as Penrod's.
And here it is, Miami Beach. As Tony Montana would say, Miami Beach, man. And it's a little choppy today. Just a little bit choppy, but actually we're gonna head down to South Pointe to get a better view. Well, yeah, Mom hadn't been to the beach in a long time, at least not to Miami Beach. And let me tell you something, today is mid-December, and look at that. It's 80 degrees out here, beautiful weather.
Beautiful weather. I am very happy with my love, my son.
Well, yeah, they even have the red flag on.
Hi.
Yeah, this is very nice. From the beach walk, we get glimpses here and there, but the best views are going to be from the South Pointe Pier.
Well, this right here, this is Government Cut, the entrance to the Port of Miami. And actually, late in the afternoon on a weekend, it's a good practice to come here and see all the cruise ships, coming out, or early in the morning if that's what you want to do. Fisher Island, one of the most expensive pieces of real estate, probably in the whole country. And back there we have the Port of down the port and downtown Miami. And over here, the luxury condos of South Pointe here. This is called South Pointe. There's Mom taking a break. And this is the southernmost point in Miami Beach, or South Beach. They have a pier. We're gonna take the pier now. We're gonna walk on the pier and see the beach on that side. But this is one of the greatest views of Miami, if you ask me. Well, greetings from Miami Beach, and this, of course, would be the South Point Park Pier, which goes, I don't know, about a quarter mile into the sea. And from here, you get to see like probably the best views of Miami Beach that one can have. And not a whole lot of people on the water because it is probably a little cold by Florida standards, but still, look at that. Look at that blue sky, that blue water. It's amazing. And look at these guys. That seems cool. They tow them all the way out to sea, and I guess then they practice the sailing thing. I don't know how it works. And we got a cargo ship coming in. And then to this side, once again, Fisher Island, downtown, Mom, and the South Point condominiums.
And that's it for this quick trip to Miami Beach with Mom. Next, we're going to visit another area of Miami, but don't despair. We're coming back to Miami Beach before the end of the video. By the way, to the right of the causeway, all those are private islands, home to the rich and famous. And there is a boat tour that you can take from Bayside if you want to see them up close and personal.
Well, this is Miami day 3, and today I'm here with our friend Alex. You know, Alex, you may know him as Mr. CLT in the chat.
How you guys doing?
Culture, lifestyle, travel, and you know, Alex has his finger on the pulse of the city here. You know, he gets out a lot more than we do. So you're gonna show us.
I'm gonna take you around. Well, this is my local area where I work, and I come here a lot to the breweries and just to hang out for a little while. So I gotta take you around. I gotta give you the real Miami.
Yeah, you know, I don't get out as much anymore. So you know, you gotta
have friends.
Every Gen Xer has to have a millennial friend that can take you to places, right? And this area is full of street art, and I'm sure we're gonna see a lot more.
Some weird art.
Weird art.
There you go.
Some of it is. Yeah. Some of it is actually really good. That gator is like.
Yeah. Especially this one. I like this one. It's cool.
Yeah, that was cool too. Yeah. All right. Let's
go
do
check
it.
out.
Let's go check it out.
If you ever find yourself driving north on I-95, you may have seen this giant boombox here. This is a neighborhood called Wynwood. From the 1950s to the late 70s, a vibrant, mostly Puerto Rican neighborhood, often referred to as Little San Juan or El Barrio. Hence the name of this street we're driving on, called Tito Puente Way, named after the Mambo King himself. By the late 70s, however, the neighborhood was in decline. There was high crime, drug trafficking was rampant, and all this would have been abandoned warehouses. And we probably wouldn't be driving through here, not even during the daytime. Even though the art scene here began as early as the 1980s, it wasn't until the mid-2000s that it really started taking off, when developer Tony Goldman of Goldman Properties took an interest in the area. And the rest is history. Wynwood is now a vibrant entertainment district and one of the main tourist attractions in Miami.
And as Alex was telling me, most of these are freshly painted. We had Art Basel, right?
Right.
It's like an art festival we have here.
It's a big art festival that happens once a year. It's called Art Basel. And Art Basel, we have a lot of local artists as well as artists from around the world. They'll come and they'll paint the walls here in this area. So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna stop here at one of the most famous ones because it's right off of I-95.
Yeah, I've seen it plenty of times, you know, going up and down.
Everybody knows this place. So
I know.
let's get out and take a picture and maybe an Instagram post.
All right, let's do it.
Here we are by the famous jukebox, but I can't help but notice the freshly painted work behind it. The artist Adrian Avila is giving it the final touches.
We're here with Adrian, and you know, this work of art here called my attention beginning because you have two landmarks, one from Miami and one from Havana, and they're both. Can you tell us the meaning and what made you think of this?
Yeah. Well, like, you know, compositionally, I wanted to have this goddess in the middle, you know, which is the Cuban Virgin of Charity, La Virgen de la Caridad.
Yeah, of course.
And I have Medical Valdez, which is a Cuban actress and model, and I liked her look for, you know, a strong virgin that is kind of pointing at these two different places, you know. So these two places are in a way related, obviously, you know. Miami and Cuba are both very related, but very different at the same time, you know. So I wanted to use, you know, different architectural structures to represent the city, and I wanted to have some kind of message of liberty and peace, and kind of having, you know, perhaps liberty on the other side, more peace on this other side. This place is under, you know, the city of Miami is underwater. The Cuba is going to be on fire, and Morroa is going to be on fire. So in a way, this, you know, is trying to have a very simple commentary and talking between both places, compositionally.
Right, so it's beautiful. I love it. I love that you put like the two landmarks, Freedom Tower here in Miami and El Morro in Havana. And I imagine this is like the Florida Straits, right in the middle.
It's definitely, you know, the short distance as well, you know.
Yeah, we're like a nation divided into by this, and you have the Virgin de la Caridad, which is Cuba's patron saint. So it makes perfect sense. Well, thank you, Adrian. And
thank you,
I can't wait to see it finished.
Thank you.
We continue roaming the colorful streets.
It doesn't say it. It doesn't say it anywhere, but it's Zach the Baker, right? Yeah. Just the bakery. Here we go. Our food has arrived. We got the croissant, the salmon cheese, right? Salmon cheese croissant, and you get a cortado, and I got a latte. And we're gonna eat.
Bon appetit.
This is salmon and cheese.
The main attraction here in Wynwood is this outdoor exhibition of rotating street art called Wynwood Walls. The last time I was here in 2019, the exhibition was free of charge. You would just walk in. But now you have to pay $12 per adult. I don't know if it is only because it is Art Week or a permanent thing. I am by no means a connoisseur when it comes to visual or plastic arts, so I can't give you much input or feedback here. Some of it I find fascinating, some of it pretty unique, and most of them are freshly painted because of Art Week.
can't see anything. It's like a Monet, you know. It looks better from far away, but it's very interesting that it is etched on the concrete, like on the wall. That's very cool. Start spreading the news. Grand Central Terminal, the MetLife building.
Here's an interesting place, Walt Gray's Vintage Cars and Guitars, where you can get yourself an antique Porsche with a vintage Les Paul Custom to go with it. We're gonna stop by Bayside Sur, the same place where we had our early 2020 meetup. We're having a South Coast IPA and some fries with chorizo and Peruvian huancaína sauce.
But as I was saying, if you recall, this is Bayside Sur. This is where we did the meetup.
Yeah.
That was right before the pandemic.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about that.
It was, I believe it was February 2020.
Yeah, we had a really good time that time.
Yeah, it was good.
That was fun.
It was
great
good.
drinks, great food.
And now we came back, and now we're going back to the car because we're going somewhere else.
Yeah, we got more places to go, more places to see, things to do.
Man, you know what? A 2-hour video wouldn't be enough to cover all of Miami. And where do you stop? Do you stop at Candle?
No.
Do you include, like, I don't know.
No, it's hard to determine where you stop and where you go.
Yeah. I mean, the north border is kind of easy. We're gonna stop it at the Broward County border, but it's
Miami's Miami.
It's a huge metropolitan area, and
there's so much to do, so much to see.
I know Manta Peruvian cuisine. I bet you that's a good place too.
I guarantee you. But hey, they got some pretty good Peruvian there.
Yeah, we had some actually spicy huancaína sauce. Which,
oh, you gotta show them.
Yeah, which we did. Which I hadn't had such a good huancaína sauce in a while. Hey, trying to make a video here.
Hey, you know what? They're doing construction. They're making this place better.
Hey, Miami is the city of eternal construction. Look at these two sculptures here. It's like everywhere you look, there's something new, something different.
Now Alex is going to take us to a secret spot he knows in Key Biscayne, where we can see the sunset with the Miami skyline. Should be a good way to end our day. This is the Rickenbacker Causeway, from where you get to see some of the best views of Miami, especially from the Rusty Pelican. A couple of weeks ago I published a video riding the e-bike on this very bridge. It turns out, like many things in Miami, Alex's secret place is no longer open to the public. At least not as of December 2022, so we're gonna have to see the sunset from the causeway. It is amazing how far to the south the sun sets this time of the year. There, that's the classic view. Miami has nowadays the third tallest skyline in the country. And that is the area where we started this video actually, Brickell. You can even see the building where I used to work. That Aston Martin building still under construction will be the tallest residential building south of New York City and the second tallest in Miami, and Florida for that matter. Panorama Tower, as of 2022, is still the tallest building in Florida, but it will be surpassed by the Waldorf Astoria under construction. Should be finished by 2027. Super tall skyscrapers used to be rare in Miami because of the proximity to the airport, just about 5 miles west of here. In fact, the main runways are aligned in a way that planes taking off and landing go exactly over downtown. I guess the FAA relaxed their policies because super tall structures are no longer rare in Miami. As night falls, we get stuck in the worst possible rush hour traffic at the worst possible time. But hey, we're not in a hurry, no big rush, so enjoy the sights of our big city. The old and the new. Now these are proper South Florida Christmas trees, don't you think? There's Freedom Tower, again, lit up in red. Very historic landmark, originally the Miami Times. During the 60s and early 70s, that's where they processed all the Cuban refugees fleeing communism, hence its current name. That's FTX Arena, home to the Miami Heat, which I'm pretty sure is going to get renamed soon. The Frost Museum of Science, the Performing Arts Center, the old Omni Mall. Well, tomorrow we'll continue exploring. We're going to Little Havana.
Happy holidays.
Welcome to Cultural Friday, coming to Casa Tiki.
El Tiki, vamos para Tiki Bar.
Today happens to be Cultural Friday, or Viernes Cultural. It is a festivity of sorts that happens on the third Friday of the month. And as I remember, it used to be very lively.
Hello everybody, this is our Miami video, day 4. Today coming to you from Little Havana. And tonight, this happens once a month. It's called the Cultural Friday, Viernes Culturales de la Calle 8. And it's like a mini fair here. They have art galleries and music and all kinds of good stuff here on the streets. I just turned on my lights. And all the restaurants and nightclubs, they have music, good food.
The neighborhood got its Little Havana nickname for being prominently Cuban from the early 60s until the 80s, although nowadays it is not as Cuban as it used to be. Nowadays it is predominantly Central American, still 98% Hispanic. But here, there are a few blocks on Calle 8, which is kind of like the touristy area, with several businesses and landmarks that celebrate the Cuban heritage, as well as the Hispanic heritage in general. The street we've been walking on is Southwest 8th Street, also known as Calle 8, which is Spanish for 8th Street. Here's our Little Havana Christmas tree. And here at Domino Park is where they're doing all the Cultural Friday celebrations. The band is playing what is known as a parranda navideña, a very popular type of music played during the Christmas celebrations in Puerto Rico.
Well, if you can't tell, it is Christmas in South Florida. T-shirt weather.
Well, this place used to be full of people playing dominoes. It must be a slow day. This is the area where all the trendy restaurants are located, and I didn't know we had an official welcome center.
Oh yeah, this is the iconic McDonald's here in Little Havana. And it looks like they've been doing some redecorating, so that's cool. And here we have this mural with all kinds of, important figures. Like we start with George Washington for the American independence, Abraham Lincoln for the, the slaves, the freedom of the slaves. And then we come to important, cultural figures of Hispanic, Cuban, Puerto Rican culture, like Celia Cruz, Benny Moré, Tito Puente, Olga Guillot. And what do we have here? That's probably that's Mount Rushmore up there, and then he's more important singers and musicians and whatnot, and then we have like the heroes of like Jose Marti of different countries, and yeah, it's a famous mural here at this place called La Esquina de la Fama, which is loosely translated as the corner of the fame. So here we have the mural to all the famous people, and this is the typical ventanita, the window where you get your Cuban coffee and whatnot. Here in all the Cuban restaurants in Little Havana.
To be honest, Cultural Fridays is not how I remembered it. They used to have more things happening outdoors, serving mojitos on the corners, and now it seems like everything happens indoors, at the several nightclubs within these few blocks with cover charges, and I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I mean, this place, Cuba Ocho, it's nice, I've been here before. So is Azúcar Ice Cream Company. Tower Theater is very historic in the community as well, but I don't know, maybe it is us. Maybe this is not our scene anymore. Now let's go to a place that we've been going to for many years, although it's been a while. And if you haven't guessed, it is a wine bar. Happy Wine started out as a wine shop, and they eventually added barrels for tables and makeshift chairs made from wine crates and inexpensive tapas that you could have among shelves of wines from all over the world. While over the years it has become more refined and less inexpensive, the essence is still there. It still feels like it did almost 20 years ago. But now there's a bar and the chairs are much more comfortable. And their famous prosciutto sandwiches are still great. It looks like they're expecting a large party today, probably a holiday party. And tonight we have a flamenco show. What a great way to end our time in Little Havana. Ready for another fun day in the city? Well, we've heard about this new mall/condo/entertainment complex called River Landing, so let's check it out. We haven't been to this part of town in a few years, but it still looks kind of the same, except for those random apartment buildings. You see, not everything goes through as drastic a metamorphosis as downtown. This is a small island here on the right. Jest Island, I believe. Let's stop here by the river really quick. That's an interesting looking boat. And here's our Miami River, sometimes hidden in plain sight. MIA, Miami International, I imagine was in the outskirts of town when it was built, but nowadays it is smack in the middle of the city, which is convenient if you travel a lot, but bad if you live under the path of landing and departing airplanes. Here we are, this is it. This tall mixed-use building. That's gotta be River Landing. The first 2 hours are free, and I doubt we're gonna be here that long, so that's perfect.
Well, this is called the River Landing, and let's see, we've never been here before. This is relatively new here in Miami. And of course, River Landing because we are right next to the river. Makes sense.
That seems to be Sewell Park. Very nice. And if you live here, you can park your boat, I suppose. These are nice. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind at all, actually. I'll take this smaller one. Actually, with all the solar panels. Let's go cruising to the Bahamas. And there it is, downtown.
Well, yeah, River Landing here, not exactly what I was expecting. I guess we're too early, you know. I imagine in a couple of months or years, all this retail space is gonna be occupied, maybe restaurants. There's like 1 or 2 restaurants only right now. And it's mostly like a shopping mall and a condo, basically. But I'm confident that this is gonna be great. So we're gonna return here maybe in a year, next winter, which is actually the best time of the year to be in Miami. Now let's go somewhere else. You see, a lot of places still say coming soon, so we shall return soon.
I think Fischel here is the only place where you can eat that is open as of December 2022. Let's continue. Let's go to an area we know much better. Ooh, Alex told me about this place, Kiki's on the River. We have to come one of these days, but not today. Casablanca and Garcia here are famous too for riverfront dining. I've been to Casablanca a couple of times and it was good. Here on the left, the Scottish Rite Masonic Temple. Some of the riverfront restaurants like the ones we saw have their own fleet of fishing boats, so the fish is always fresh. I would love me some snapper right now. This would be Coral Way, both the road and the neighborhood. This section of Southwest 22nd Street is a historic scenic drive dating back to the 1920s, very iconic with all these banyan trees planted on the median. This was my first neighborhood in Miami, back in the late 80s, early 90s. In fact, this supermarket here is where I held my first job, as a bag boy. It was a Winn-Dixie back then, and it still kind of is. Fresco y Más is just a rebranding, a scheme to attract Hispanic customers. Anyway, these days I'm more of a Publix guy. So there, now you've seen my first and last job, before my current job. Coral Way was originally the road that connected Miami with Coral Gables. Now it is all part of the same urban sprawl. This is the city limit as we enter Miracle Mile. And Coral Gables has its own set of unique rules, like a gigantic HOA. Until recently, you couldn't even own a pickup truck and park it at your own home. And forget about RVs. It is one of those ritzy areas that you like to visit, enjoy the clean and efficient infrastructure, the nice restaurants, but actually live somewhere else close by. That's how we do it. They call it the City Beautiful, and that It definitely is. First, we're going to visit this pedestrian block of Giralda Avenue. It's got a bunch of restaurants and shops, and I originally hated the idea when they converted it to pedestrian, but it has grown on me over the years. It is kind of early for dinner, so that's why everything is kind of deserted. Alright, let's just turn around.
Well, let's find somewhere to eat. We're gonna kind of have an early lunch here and then just walk around downtown Coral Gables.
As is usually the case, we ended up at the place we know, where we've been before. The queso is outstanding, and so is the snapper, one in garlic sauce, one in tomatillo sauce. Now it is time to walk off our dinner as night falls in the Gables. And it is Christmas time in the city. There are many things to see in Coral Gables, so many that it could be its own standalone video. And it will be someday, I promise. That would be the historic Miracle Theater. And with this view of the Christmas tree in front of City Hall, we're saying goodbye to Coral Gables. As the late Steve Jobs used to say, one more thing. And yeah, there's one more thing. And you're gonna say, Robert, what are you doing? We've been here before. Oh, but today we have some cruise ships. And yes, we're going back to Miami Beach because last time we didn't go to Ocean Drive. And I think it would be a fitting end to our Miami video here. As promised, here we are back in Miami Beach, which is perhaps the area that most people think of as quintessentially Miami. You've seen it in the movies, you know, all the Art Deco hotels of Ocean Drive. Let's see if we can find parking and walk around a little bit. Here on the left is the 7th Street Garage. Let's drive around. Here on the left, Puerto Sagua Restaurant, probably the last remnant of a bygone era here in South Beach. Here in South Beach, everything has been either repainted or remodeled, repurposed, renovated, and if it wasn't for the historic and architectural value, probably replaced as well. I've lived in this town long enough to remember when this was kind of a little bit of a seedy, depressed area. The parking garage is only 6'8" clearance and Starship is 6'7". A little too close for comfort. I'm gonna try and find parking on the street.
Oh yeah, I had to park south of 5th, which is, you know, just a couple of blocks extra that I have to walk but I didn't feel comfortable parking in that garage. You know, the clearance was 6'8", and Starship is 6'7", so just in case. It's just an extra 2 blocks that I have to walk, which is not the end of the world. I did 2 hours, it's about $8 for parking, so. And look at that, all of a sudden, blue skies. This is perfect.
This is 5th Street, the main street you take when you come over the MacArthur Causeway. And here's world-famous Ocean Drive, which used to be a normal 2-way street, but not anymore. Now it is 1-way southbound and the other lane is a bike trail.
Okay, I see what they've done here. The northbound lane has become a bicycle lane, and then Ocean Drive is 1-way southbound for vehicular traffic. Okay, that makes sense. And contrary to popular belief, you cannot see the ocean from Ocean Drive. You have some sand dunes, you know, protecting the biosphere or whatever. Actually, if you go north up to Fort Lauderdale Beach, then yes, Ocean Drive goes right next to the ocean, but not here. We still have our Christmas decorations here in South Beach. And on the way back, we might pass just, you know, by the ocean, just so we see it. And as quintessential as this area is, you know, quintessential Miami, us locals, we hardly ever come here. You know, it's a pain to find parking, and I don't know, it's just too crazy. But yeah, that building over there, the Colony Hotel, you may remember from the movie Scarface, and it was on the 2nd floor, one of those round windows back there, that you know, the drug deal scene, that's where it happened, right there. It's a CBS. Last time I was here, it was still a Johnny Rockets. And the Colony Hotel, very iconic, you know. This is where they parked that 74 Impala, and they made a U-turn right here in the middle of the street. And maybe I'll put a short movie clip here. And as I was saying, you know, 30 years ago when we were young and restless, we used to come here on weekends, you know, hang out. Wet Wheel is there, and we went to the one in Havana, if you recall, last year for Cinco de Mayo. And, you know, frozen drinks, well, I could be wrong, you know, one of them is called Call a Cab, one of them is called Attitude Improvement, Sex on the Beach, that kind of thing. And that used to be one of our hangout places. And you know, I'm sorry if I'm kind of reminiscing here, but I haven't been to South Beach in quite a while. You know, this is the park in front of the water. You have all the coconut trees there. It's very tropical here. There, of course, Mango's Tropical Cafe. That place has been there since the early 90s, I think. Another, you know, local hangout back in the day. And yeah, look at that, all the Art Deco buildings. This is very quintessential, right? You know how people make a line to take a picture with the southernmost point buoy in Key West? Well, this is another one of those spots where people would like to take a picture. It's the South Beach clock, the 10th Street clock, and it gives you the temperature. And today, December, what is today, the 29th? At 11 a.m. it is 75 degrees Fahrenheit here in South Beach, December 29, 2022. It's one of those places that everybody wants to take a picture with the clock and the thermometer to prove that they were in Miami Beach. And I decided to come around, what time is it now? 11 a.m. because, you know, it's gonna get crazy here later. This is a nightlife mecca of Miami, really. And that's why you see a lot of these places are kind of just getting started, you know, not a whole lot of people. And we're probably not gonna do anything like eat or drink or anything like that here. I'm just giving you the quick tour as a way to close out this epic Miami video, you know. You saw that telescope? Actually, look at all these beautiful trees here. This is very quintessential South Florida. We're about to walk in front of what used to be Gianni Versace's home. You know Gianni Versace, the fashion designer. And it's been many things since then. I think nowadays it is like a hotel. It used to be a restaurant, a private club. I actually went inside only once. I did a party with the band many years ago, and it was a wedding, I believe, it was in there. But yeah, it's another iconic building in South Beach. I believe it is a restaurant these days. That would be the Victor over there, and that's the epitome of luxury. We actually did a Scotch tasting there once, many years ago, and we got to tour one of the rooms, you know, the penthouse. That place is amazing. And this is the Tides. Remember the police station on that movie? I forget the name of that movie. I'll write it down. That is, you know, movie location for that. And seems to be undergoing renovations right now. These two, of course, very iconic as well, the Leslie and the Carlisle. Who can forget the Carlisle? That was the bird cage in the movie The Birdcage. You probably saw it. This section of Ocean Drive, obviously pedestrian only, and that's cool. I think maybe they should make the whole Ocean Drive pedestrian only. I'm sure there's some kind of logistic thing with deliveries or whatnot where they cannot do it, but that'll be cool. And we have reached the end of Ocean Drive. This would be 15th Street. Oh, there used to be like an entertainment mall, and it's no longer there. Yeah, this is more or less the exact location where South Beach tax-free shops used to be. They used to sell perfumes, luxury items, guitars, and I worked there for a couple of years.
Let's go down to the beach.
Well, here we are, Miami Beach, on a rather windy day. I hope you can hear me okay. Pretty choppy again. And it is in the 70s, which is, I'm not gonna offend anybody up north by calling it cold, but by Miami Beach standards, This is pretty much as cold as it gets. You know, we got a cold snap last week and it was in the 50s, but this is it. I'm gonna start walking back and the Ocean Drive. And it is getting cloudy back there, so we may have to return to the mainland soon. Miami Beach, man. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this slice of Miami, if you will. You know, I think we covered most of the highlights. You know, especially ending here in Miami Beach, which I know is technically not part of city of Miami, but it is by far the most famous part of Miami. I think we covered the basics, the highlights, some of them, most of them, if you will. Yeah, there's a huge suburban area west of downtown. There are certain things that are interesting there. There's Coconut Grove, Biscayne, and some other places along the coast, you know, going south towards Homestead. There's Biscayne National Park. And don't worry, we're gonna cover those at another time. But for now, we're saying goodbye from Miami, Florida. Well, not quite yet. I'm gonna drive back to Miami using a different route. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And see you on the road. We're hitting the road in a couple of days.
We're going back north on Washington Avenue, which is 2 blocks inland from Ocean Drive. And I'm reminded that we've barely scratched the surface here. Miami Beach also deserves its own separate video. For example, this other area here by the Cameo Theater. I mean, I wonder if that Cuban restaurant is any good. I've never been there. And here to the left is Pañola Way. I wonder if Tapas y Tintos is still there. There's Lincoln Road coming up here to the left, which is a half-mile long pedestrian road with shops, restaurants, very lively. I'm thinking maybe when I come back to Miami in a couple of months, we can do a more in-depth exploration of all these areas. Now we're going to turn onto Collins Avenue, which is at this point the street closest to the ocean. So all these high-rise hotels on our right are oceanfront. Here we have some art. We've seen that before. we're going back to the mainland. But Miami Beach, it keeps going and going, and one of these days we should explore how far north it really goes. Miami used to be the place where I lived and worked and commuted, and to be honest, didn't like very much. But seeing it with visitors' eyes, from the tourist perspective, perhaps it ain't all that bad. For that, to visit. To live, I'm still not sure about that. It is loud, congested, it can be dirty, it is insufferably hot and humid most of the year, prohibitively expensive, and people drive like maniacs. But it's still home. Maybe I'll give it a second chance, huh? There's a reason why they call it the Magic City and the gateway to the Americas. And with that, we're saying goodbye to the 305. On the next one, we're embarking on Mini Teeny 3's probably last adventure. I'll give you a hint. We're driving to the west, into the sunset. But we are in South Florida, so first we have to drive north. Until then, thank you so much for watching. And see you on the road.
I'm riding in Miami.